Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Stars and Stripes Cup Series presented by Sharp Apparel. And it is getting close to playoff racing action as it is race number 13 of 15 for the regular season before we get to playoff racing action. And tonight, it is the Sharp Apparel Southern 200. We're excited to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. Robert Moyer is going to be running production here tonight. Zach, it's that of Darlington here tonight. Driver's going to have a handful with this course. Been hearing over the radio. It is going to be a tough night for most of the drivers.
Tough night indeed it will be, Sam. This track here, not only like they say is too tough to tame, but this package here I think is what's going to be too tough to tame here. Normally when we come to a track of this size, we are getting not normal. The package is definitely changed up as check.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Stars and Stripes Cup Series presented by Sharp Apparel, as it is Season 4, race number 13, here tonight for the Sharp Apparel Southern 200. We're excited to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall, Robert Moyer running productions. Zach, it's that of Darlington. This is going to be a track that seems to be tough, and over the radio, drivers are having a handful.
Yeah, definitely, as they would call it, the track too tough to tame, Sam. I think also what is going to be too tough to tame is this package here tonight. These cars are a handful. Normally when we come to a track of this size, it's a 1.36 mile racetrack here at the Darlington Raceway. Very close to what you would see almost to a mile and a half intermediate racetrack, but at the same time, its very own beast in itself. So NASCAR decided to bring the package of a 750 horsepower, the low downforce, little rear spoiler, and that is really going to be what's really tough for these drivers to contain all night. It's going to be about who can keep the tires underneath them and who can keep this car straight on the racetrack without getting too much damage. It's going to be surprising to see if we see any clean cars left after these 146 laps here tonight.
That's the thing. Who can survive? There's going to be no fast repair for these drivers once we get to green flag racing, and as well, playoffs right around the corner. And we're going to take a look here at what the points are like, because Zach, this is getting close, and this cutoff marker is where all the action is. That of Nick Holland, going to be the driver in the final spot. Only 12 drivers make it in, but why there is such a big points differential from Nick Holland to Travis Butt, it's because of Timmy McNally is outside officially of the top 12, but because of his win, he's automatically locked in.
Yeah, that is really shook things up. Travis Butt 20 points back from Nick Holland. Brent Summers 27 back. Travis Start 32. Nate Lynch is 39. Dylan Glass is 42. The Derek Hoffman 47. I think personally, back to Brian Lynch, he's gonna have to be almost in a must-win scenario. Even maybe Derek Hoffman and Dylan Glass. Nate Lynch in these 3 races may have a chance to make up some points like that. It's a possibility there, Sam, but it's gonna be a tough deal for these guys to make up these points. No stages here, so no available stage points or anything like that to gain. It's just gonna be all about finishes and who can get the wins. If you're Dylan Grimm and Nick Holland, you still can't be feeling safe though, because if someone goes out there that's not locked in or in one of these positions that's outside the playoffs that wins, it's gonna pull one of these drivers like Dylan Grimm, Nick Holland, or Trey Jackson here out of it. And Aaron Hill also, he's pretty close to the cut line.
Yeah, Aaron Hale, he's been very consistent at most of these races to finish up front. Trey Jackson has found some unlucky moments of being caught up in other drivers' issues. Dylan Grimm as well has been pretty consistent, but wasn't here last week. The 23 going to be having a lot of points to come back from. And Nick Holland, this has not been a complete reversal of how last season went on a 3-win spree in the Xfinity cars here tonight in the Cup Series. It has been a completely different story of just scratching and crawling just to be inside of the top 12 and is that cutoff driver. But those are what the point standings look like coming into tonight. But tonight, everything could change. Like I said, Zach, a win could bump some of these drivers out of our top 12. And speaking of one of the drivers to be watching out for, we got to be looking at qualifying. This is a place where drivers can really maximize their speed. As here's the 42, that of Dylan Glass, going to be trying to get his best qualifying time down, as it's going to be his first lap being put down for the 42.
Yeah, you alluded to it, Sam, and you couldn't have said it better. Qualifying is going to be super important, as right there at the top of the board, it's going to be Kyle McCoy, who just nips Cameron Sarton by a couple hundredths of a second, or a hundredth of a second there, to take that pole position so far. But man, I tell you what, McCoy with a great lap there. He had a good lap in practice. Backs it up here. We'll see if anybody can get even remotely close to that or able to top it, Sam. But like you said, qualifying is so important here. Track position is everything. This place is so tough to pass. It's a one-groove racetrack, as they would say. But I will say, this 750 horsepower package, it does give you a little bit more option to pass on the bottom of 3 and 4 than what we've had here in the past with the 550 horsepower package. So I'm excited to see who can make it work. But the key is going to be that long run speed and who can keep their car in one piece, because I tell you what, this track here known to take a toll on the right side of these race cars.
It's going to be a very tough night. That's why the track is called Too Tough to Tame here at Darlington. And drivers going to be trying to figure out how to control this night. And with this car and this track, again, there's Derek Offerman, a driver who's practically in a must-win scenario coming into the night, going to be back in 8th place. But Zach, this is Darlington. We still have 2 more races after this. Gateway and Talladega to finish out the regular season. So there's still a lot of opportunities to be gaining points and a potential win based on how these upcoming races go. But here at Darlington, excuse me, and going into Gateway next week, 2 kind of similar layouts if you look from top view down, but there's banking here in Darlington compared to how much there is at Gateway going into next week. So these drivers could be gaining a little bit of knowledge that they could try to grasp coming into the night to take into next week.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing you definitely can take is the comparison, like you said, Darlington Gateway. They're just both awkward racetracks, very different than any other thing we go to. So I think you could see some similarities there. So it'll be interesting to see who can produce the best amount of speed there. But it looks like qualifying has finally come to an end there, Sam, and it's going to be Kyle McCoy up top. He's top that board, and this track here going to be very tough for these drivers, and qualifying very important.
It's going to be impressive to see who can survive the night overall. And on top of that, Zach, we were looking at the times during practice. They were extremely close. And even during qualifying, they kept it close. As taking the pole position, going to be Kyle McCoy. Cameron Sarton going to be taking 2nd place with that of Andrew Medlin in 3rd. Christopher Wade's going to be in 4th place with Kyle Bowling, Dylan Grimm, Scott Rickard, as well as Derek Offerman, Trey Jackson. And finishing out your top 10, going to be Travis Butt.
It's going to be the 11th position. It's going to be the 25 of Nate Lynch alongside him on that row. It's going to be the 68 of Nick Holland on that cut line coming in here with the playoffs. 13th position is going to be Aaron Hell trying to make his way safely into the playoffs. He's going to need a good points tonight. 14th is going to be Brian Burchett in the 33 machine. 15th is going to be Timmy McNally locked into the playoffs with that win. 16th is going to be Chris Essery in the 10 machine. 17th is going to go to 29 of Cole Sacchetti. 18th is going to be Ken Campbell in that 15 machine. 19th is Dylan Glass, and rounding out that top 20 is going to be 11 of Brian Shue.
Then it's going to be John Zart in the 66th and 21st position. With that, the 2 of Mike Lynch. Brett Somers, a driver that's looking to be trying to have a better night tonight, going to be outside looking in points. He's going to be needing a good day back in 23rd. But then our race control driver of Randy Cornwell going to be in 24th position with Patrick Hasty, Travis Dart, as well as that of Brian Lynch, Paul House, Jason Gratton, George Kovacic, and that of Doug Pierce. Going to be finishing out your 31 drivers that are expected to race here tonight, which technically I should say 30 because of Cornwell going to be our race control. But Zach, it's Kyle McCoy, a driver that has found his way to victory lane here at Darlington in kind of a dominating fashion the last time that we were here in the Xfinity cars. Heard some of the drivers say that they felt like this Cup machine and the way that it's acting kind of similar to the Xfinity machines. That's why the 7's got to be the driver to watch out for overall here tonight.
Oh, yeah. When we came in here tonight, I think that was the one name I had circled in my mind before this whole entire session opened up here tonight. I expected the 7 to be pretty strong. We even talked about it before a little bit in the pre-race. We were surprised he was pretty far down in the practice sheets. Later on there in the practice, I think he went out and did a mock qualifying run, kind of set up that run instead of really working on race trim. He found the speed there, produced it again there in qualifying just to edge out Sarton, who we know He is showing a lot of speed this season and at a lot of different places. Sarton's been, I think the driver has really been a driver that's carried speed from each and every racetrack, the road courses, the short tracks, and the speedways and the intermediates. So we'll see if he can bring it to this wild egg-shaped racetrack. But man, it's gonna be a tough night here under the lights, Sam. 146 laps, throwback edition here racing. I'm excited to see who can tame the Lady in Black.
It's going to be Kyle McCoy, Cameron Sarton, Andrew Medlin, Christopher Wade, Kyle Bowling going to be your top 5 getting ready to go green. This is the Stars and Stripes Cup Series presented by Sharp Apparel for the Sharp Apparel Southern 200 here tonight. It's race number 13, playoffs right around the corner. But this could be a win and you're in, but also a factor to watch out for. Who's going to have the bad wheel spin on this restart? Kyle McCoy waits for the green flag to wave as they're on the front stretch, waiting to go. Green flag is out, and we're roaring here down into turn number 1 for the Sharp Apparel Southern 200.
Good start there from the front row. McCoy able, looks like he's going to clear start. And here as they head down, this is where it gets a little sketchy. 2x2 as they head through turn 1 and 2. You don't want to be the 2x2 for long as you get down to turn 2. You want to be single file, but a few drivers there exit side by side.
We're going to be already keeping it pretty clean, but into now turns number 3 and 4, the much more narrow aspect of the course where that outside wall is going to be sneaking up on you all night long. But at turn 4, it's going to be Kyle McCoy leading lap number 1. And everyone else looking neat and tidy for now, which big credit. These drivers did put a lot of practice in to make sure they were good on these restarts and they at least could survive to get to lap 2. Now here's the big question. Who's going to be aggressive in the early going? That might put the car a little bit too far on the edge.
Oh, for sure, Sam. This is right here. At this point, they got good grip still. If the tires are coming in, they're heating up. This is the point where the car is going to feel its best because after about 6 or 7 laps around here, you're pretty much hanging on with this package here. 750 horsepower. It is truly a beast in itself to just get around this 1.36 mile racing circus. But right now, Kyle McCoy out front, Sarton there still strong behind with Wade and Medlin straight in tow.
Here comes Cameron Sarton with a great run onto the back stretch and now onto the back bumper of the 7, trying to set up this pass as we go into and out of the corner. And you can just tell that right now Cameron Sarton wants to get aggressive, but it's the run out of the corner where that of Kyle McCoy coming from the Xfinity Series last season. This 7 has found that great point to get back into the throttle and have that exit speed.
Yeah, and you bring up that great point about the Xfinity season. Our champion there not only, but this was one of our playoff races. This is one of the races that propelled him to that championship, and he dominated Darlington last season here. With only 3 cautions last season, he led 131 of the 146 laps. So Kyle McCoy already starting off exactly like he did last season in the Xfinity Series on pole position, leading the first 5 laps, trying to produce the same victory here. We'll see if anybody else can get up there to control that number 7 machine. But the 05 Scott Rickard in the throwback machine here looking strong already as he's up to 6th.
And also closing in front of him, Dylan Graham just brushing the wall coming out of turn number 2. Got a little bit of right side damage, should be at least drivable, but wants to make sure he can stay off the outside wall. But loving the fact throughout the night, we're going to be seeing a lot of different throwback schemes. That's what Darlington always brings for these drivers. It's throwback night on top of it being that of the Sharp Apparel Southern 200. And so you see Kyle Bowling, one of our leaders in the points, practically locked in with the amount of points that the 44 has, with the consistency, still looking for that win. It's been a couple of seasons and wanting it bad is this 44.
He's been super strong, but another driver looking for some type of consistency to build up here before the playoffs start and just looking to make it into those playoffs. As the driver coming on the cut line, it's the 68 Nick Holland here. He's made up 4 positions already, 12th up to 8th here as he's about a little bit of a gap built back there to the 20 of Derek Hoffman as we jump back to the 25 of Nate Lynch. One of those other drivers trying to make his way in below that cut line. Many points out. Nate Lynch, though, still within breathing distance if he can have a great 3 races. Right now, starting in 11th, still holding that 11th position.
We saw it there, Zach. I mean, Travis Butt as well as Nate Lynch, both kind of running about a half groove off of what one another were running. I'm wondering if potentially a little bit of dirty air could be that factor, but also how much of a comfort zone is it trying for these drivers to run as low as you can or just run in the middle or high line here at Darlington?
Yeah, some people will do this, Sam, where they'll run a groove off the wall. Here, as you can see, a little bit of a side-by-side battle. The 18 machine there battling side-by-side there 3 and 4 with the 11 machine of Brian Chu. He almost gets up into the wall there.
Oh, he did.
Connection, and yeah, luckily the driver's behind him able to miss it.
No,
No,
he
there's a
didn't.
wrecking. Major incident.
And that's going to be seeing the 10 of Chris Essery, who had an EOL penalty at the start. The 11 thought that he was clear before he could just dump it into the inside wall. Was not a clip, the 10 machine.
That right there, Sam. So unfortunate. Wrong plays at the wrong time for Chris Essery, just trying to get by the slowing up 11 there, and just cannot get it done as the 11 bounces off the wall and clips his quarter panels. We'll get to see here with this replay.
Instant replay of what brought out this yellow, as this is when he's sitting in a restart. We're going to get the replay, though, here shortly, as Zach, I mean, connections always going to be a factor to watch out for, as it's going to be a little bit awkward to see this replay. Again, the 11 and the 18, that the 11 of Brian Chu, the 18 of Paul House. Paul House, one of our biggest movers of the night, really has been climbing through this field, but it's going to be the aftermath of coming out of the corner where the 11 blinks away. Chris Essery, just an innocent victim of the 11 losing and getting out of control.
Yeah, like you said, just an innocent victim here, as you'll see the network, there are issues for him, and he's going to disappear a few times. He'll come back, and now he's going to get into the outside wall. And from there, Chris Essery just going left, trying to go around the 11 of Brian Chu. He gets in the outside wall once more again. That shoots him off the wall, down into that right rear quarter panel, like I said, the 10, shooting him head first right there at a pretty good angle onto that right front. And man, that's going to be early damage for Chris Essery that he does not want to have to get worked on, because remember, here at Stars and Stripes, you do not have a fast repair, and he was already doing, like we said, with the EOL penalty. So Chris Essery here making his way back from that. He'll have a longer road now, Sam, with some more damage.
Well, luckily for Chris Essery, comes into tonight with a 41-point advantage over that cutoff line of where Nick Holland is. So luckily there is a buffer to work with. You can have an off race, but you cannot have bad races here tonight, some next week, and the week after. That's going to be putting you in a spot where you might have to think about, well, I have enough points of a buffer to hold off drivers, because you do not want to be in that, where Nick Holland is, that 12th place position. Because coming up to the Talladega being the last race of the regular season, one of the drivers that's outside looking in would love to get a win to crack themselves into the playoffs.
Oh, for sure. I mean, any way you can get in, you have a chance in the playoffs. If you get there, that's all that matters. And we've seen, last season, Kyle McCoy, up to those playoffs, yeah, he was a definite strong contender. But I think up to that point, most people would have said, man, Scott Rickard probably would have been the favorite at that point of the season. We go into the playoffs, Kyle McCoy takes it all the way up to another notch of a level, and he ends up the champion. So any of these drivers that are sitting outside of that, the distance to make it in even points-wise, they may be able to grab them a victory here and try to slide up through. But, a lot of familiar names up here in this top position, so they're going to have a lot of work to get cut through here, Sam. But you never know. Strategy comes into factor here. Darlington is a place where I've seen strategy be a huge factor. We've seen many fuel mileage races and races won by having sets of tires.
Well, got to give big credit to the field. We were able to stay green for 10 laps there, but it does allow some drivers, if they want to come in, just top off with fuel. That of Patrick Hasty as well as Brett Sommers. Looked like they both came into pit road to get some fuel topped off, as Chris Essery got into pit road to get damage repair. Brian Chu has been disconnected, connecting back in. He still looks like he is finally getting out of pit road for the 11. So still have all 29 drivers on the lead lap and going to be on track that started this race, as it's going to be Kyle McCoy, Cameron Sarn, Christopher Wade, Andrew Medlin, and Dylan Grimm going to be your top 5. One driver of the front 5 I'm a little concerned about. Again, Dylan Grimm did brush the outside wall around lap 8. So that 23's got slight damage that he's got to be worrying about for the rest of the night.
Yeah, damage is something you don't have to worry about this early for sure, but I imagine most will have it by the time we get through these 146 laps here tonight. But so far, most of the drivers up front clean. Looks like McCoy going to elect to take the outside lane, put Sarton down low in that 13 machine. But I tell you what, it's been a great start for that opening to laps. So I think the reason we didn't see anybody really been elected and getting nowhere near taking tires, well, like we said, at one point, only 4 sets of tires in this race, so 3 in pit road. For 146 laps, Sam, that's not a lot of tires, so these drivers are going to have to manage that.
Yeah, a lot of the drivers mainly will be aiming around lap 45 to 50 for them to make their pit stops so they can save an extra set for later on in the race. But pace car is off. It's time for our first restart of the night. It's going to be Kyle McCoy waiting to get the go as everyone's coming out of turn number 4. Green flag's in the air, and the 7 timing it perfectly. Christopher Wade got a little bit of a wiggle for the 53, but we are green heading down into turn number 1.
Great start there from the outside line, and look at that. McCoy shot out of a cannon. Andrew Mellon uses that outside lane starting behind our leader to really his advantage. He slides up to the 2nd position, and look at that, Wade up the 3rd, as Sarton's the one who gets swamped in all that business.
Sarton's going to be dropping back to 4th place for himself. You know, not where he wants to be. He was in 2nd. Now he's got some traffic to work with, but our up front weren't really seeing a lot of passes going on. Cameron Sarton, the biggest loser of those in the top 5, up down 2 positions. Up to is that Scott Rickard as we're riding on board with the 12 of Andrew Medlin and getting a sense of just how this course in the field is. Zach, Darlington, one of the more unique just because of the shape of the track. It's an egg-shaped course where we're going to be, you know, seeing drivers really focusing here into turns 3 and 4. It's a much narrower aspect, and then into turn 1 and 2, the much wider and more far banked, where drivers are going to be taking a harder left-handed turn as you're riding on board with the 12, as you can see his onboard cam on the right.
Yeah, cool shot here from Medlin up in the 2nd position, but even directly behind him, you had Wade there getting to the wall in 3. He gives up the position to Sarton there in the 13 machine. He slides up the 3rd, as now Rickard will slide up the 5th. So definitely some positions game, but look at Medlin already fighting strong with McCoy here. And you got to think, too, this is pretty far into a run here. We only had that one caution here to give us a few extra laps. Medlin looking strong here with this little bit of reset on the tires here. We'll see if he can keep up or maybe try to make a pass.
About 12 laps of green flag racing on these tires. So we're starting to see drivers that were feeling themselves that they were saving their tires just enough to try to make some moves moving forward. And speaking of moves moving forward, Travis Butt, he's up 1 position in front of him. Nick Holland is up 5 in 7th place, just 2 drivers ahead. As we see Nick Holland, he's on the move and trying to get up to 6th place, get by that Dylan Grimm, who's in that 23.
Yeah, Dylan Grimm, like we talked about before, we alluded to it, has a little bit of right front damage. It's not too bad, though. Looked over that car a few times. It is right there at the top of the fender and not too bad. Doesn't even have a crack in the hood, so that's a great scene to see. But Holland doing a great job. This is a night he needs, Sam. He needs as many points as possible here tonight. But still, early in this race, you can't take too many risks if you're him, because you got to get a great finish in this race. If you don't get a good finish in this race, it pushes you back. And drivers like Travis Butt, who are in that 9th position, not too far behind in that yellow and black machine there, he is going to be looking to pounce on that.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Also, other drivers that can't have poor races here tonight. The 4 of Aaron Hale, one of those drivers. Derek Offerman, you know, practically must be in the top 3, top 5 here tonight if he wants an opportunity to point his way into the playoffs. Otherwise, going to be forced into a must-win scenario. And we see some of the other drivers that are in this field. 15th place, Ken Campbell. And Campbell, usually not running his Campbell chicken noodle soup machine, going with a more classic for himself. But Ken Campbell, one of our drivers that really has found his way to victory lane plenty of times this season. But right in the middle of the field, a little shocker for himself as Glass looking off for that of the 42.
Yeah, Dylan Glass there, a little bit of a moment there for him on the entry, and that puts him behind Jason Gratton there, so it slides him back to the 19th position. Jason Gratton up to 18th, and Gratton now up 11 spots from where he started from. Great job for that number 46 machine there, Sam, who did not put a qualifying time in.
Yeah, didn't do so, and some other drivers as we're looking through the rest of the field. I want to give a note of Paul House, the 18 that we saw that was battling around Chu before that the most recent incident that came out. The 18 has parked it and looks to be done for the night. Little shocker for Paul House. That was one of our biggest movers until that yellow came out.
Yeah, I was really watching him make movements through the field, Sam, and he just decided his night was over, so he decided to pull that thing over, man. Unfortunate. Definitely wanted to see what he had. His hole into the wall there on the back straightaway. Looked around to keep it straight, and to keep going here is clean and green as they'll try to get back up to speed.
That's going to be Cole Sacchetti in the 29 machine that clobbered the wall right when we went back to go watch the battling that was happening between himself and also that of Trey Jackson. And now Cole Sacchetti, got to be careful because there's another pack behind him with John Dark, Brian Lynch, and Chris Essery all in this group behind the 29.
Yeah, remember Essery also got the yellow involved in that latest caution there. And now already trying to charge his way back up from that damage repair. And he's in that 23rd position. So, for starting as far back as 29th in this race at the start and having got caught up in a wreck, he's already made a few more positions. Now trying to go forward again. The damage, I think, is what's going to limit him, but we'll see what he can do for damage limitation.
Chris Essery going to be going to the inside, trying to get by that of Brian Lynch. And, throwback night, we love it because of the different schemes. At the same time, Zach, it's one of the more, as a commentator, you get used to some drivers' normal schemes. It takes a while for us to get used to the schemes they're running here for Darlington.
Oh, yeah, Sam, I've already been caught off guard by at least 5 or 6 of them. So, yeah, he is telling it to you straight, folks. we definitely get used to the way some of these cars look and the way their numbers do, and it's definitely a throwback week. It's always one that you got to keep your eyes peeled for exactly who it is. But back up here, up to the front, it's Christopher Wade here in the 5th position. He's got Grimm directly behind him, Holland, Bowling, and Travis Butt also. And Sam, it doesn't really surprise me to see this group of drivers right up here in this position, especially Holland, Bowling, and Travis Butt there. All 4 of those drivers really good in the Xfinity car. And like we said, this could be pretty comparable to the Xfinity package.
Yeah, right now we're going to be seeing that of Scott Ricker going to be throwing it to the inside, going to be trying to make a pass for 2nd place. But 2nd back to 9th. They're all within about a 2nd to a 1.5 seconds. This train, they've got to be careful and got to get moving because the guy who dominated this race last season, Kyle McCoy, is pulling away as he's almost over a full 1.5 seconds over this pack.
Yeah, we're going to see what Scott Ricker can do now. He's got up to 2nd as you see. He's building the gap. They'll say the 12 of Medlin. We've talked about how strong he looked there right after that restart. Might have used the most out of those tires trying to make something happen for that lead. Now dropping back into the clutches. Sarton going to be the next one to try to get something done along with Wade, Grimm, Holland. But they're now getting by Bowling in the middle of 3 and 4. Great move by him to get up to a position. But here goes Holland to the inside of Grimm on the front straightaway.
Up and on the back of that of Dylan Grimm, seeing the 69, throwing it down low, that outside wall. This track not really at the optimal position for side-by-side racing as we're riding on board with the 23, and that outside wall just so close. And I think a slight touch might have happened there for the 23, but a lot of time going to be lost just trying to make sure he didn't clobber the wall was Dylan Grimm as he watched Nick Holland just pull away.
Yeah, and Grimm again having to fight that race car in the 23 machine. He needs a good night. Came in directly above that cut line. He needs to, really make sure he makes this fit in the most of this finish. It could slip away from one of our final 4 contenders here late in the regular season. He wants another chance at a championship, Sam. This is not how it's going to work, though. He needs to get a very good finish. Still in a good spot right now. For where he's at, right directly ahead of Derek Hoffman in the 9th position. But that damage will start to pile up that he's receiving.
Yeah, but luckily right now, where Nick Holland and Dylan Grimm run, technically they would be tied going if the race ended right now. So they're not completely out of the woodworks for themselves, but certainly starting to see a little bit more spacing as riding on the back of the 12, Andrew Medlin. Here comes Christopher Wade, going to be ducking it to the inside, putting the nose in. Here goes a pass as Wade trying to hold on as it's Medlin into the wall and clogging up this pack.
Oh, and a little bump from Travis Butt there as Holland tries to get to the inside. Holland does a good job to turn down as Medlin hit that wall. And Medlin, we can see, just starting to really struggle. That car looks like it's not turning well. It's not getting off the corner. And he is dropping back like a rock here. Samuel, he's going to try to follow in between Bowling and Butt. And he does get that done. But it's starting to check up there as, Medlin from 2nd all the way back here to 7th. This 12 machine falling off quickly. And that just shows you these Cup machines here, 750 horsepower, low downforce package. These tires are gone after about 20 laps.
Yeah, and also looking at the fact that we are 32 laps into this race, you can subtract about 5 laps because of pacing for these drivers. So they've been running for about that of 27 to 28 laps for themselves out on track of green flag racing. This is usually when you start to see the transition of drivers that have been cooking and burning those tires and those that have been patient and waiting for this long run.
Yeah, and this is an interesting dynamic here as you see Boland try to make the move now on the 12 of Medlin, just doesn't have enough run out of 4 there. This dynamic here is we normally see pack racing with this cup car. We don't see many times you see gaps forming between drivers 30 laps into a run like this, but our whole entire field is almost already spread out like 23 seconds at only 33 laps into this race. That is unheard of at any other intermediate track with the 550 horsepower package. This 750 horsepower package very much puts it in the driver's hands here, and it lets them be able to drive away from their competition, not and not have to worry about the draft as much. So it's very interesting to see Kyle McCoy once again in this similar package to the Xfinity car, just driving into the sunset. That's what we've seen him do in the Xfinity car. I mean, he had a giant lead in that race at one point.
I mean, also you think of the ways that this track is it's more of, whenever I think of Darlington, I always hear of drivers saying, you're not racing the other drivers around you, you're racing the track itself. And then if you pass a driver, that's awesome, that's great, but it's more so just survive here at Darlington as we're seeing the battling going on. Medlin, Bowling, get out of Dylan Grimm, going to be on top of one another, going down into the corner. And I think that's the big thing for these drivers to watch out for. Bowling diving it down low with that slide job move, working out perfectly for the 44.
And look at that, Grimm follows him through. Great job by the 23 and the 44 to get the job done on Medlin, who drops back another 2 spots back to the 9th position. Here comes Offerman. He's trying to offer up a pass here as he goes down into 3 onto the bottom lane, trying to find the clean air. Don't look too far back, though. It's Aaron Hell. He qualified back at 13th. I've seen him making moves, and he's starting to make good time here also in his 4 machine. Always quicker on the longer runs, it seems like. Again, Aaron Hell, one of those drivers you got to watch for as that race goes on.
Yeah, Andrew Medlin's got to be very concerned. He's got Offerman, Hale, Campbell all behind that of the 12 machine. And Campbell, one of our biggest movers of those that are in the top 12, up 6 positions for himself. Biggest mover of the night so far is going to be in 17th place. Jason Gratton up 11 positions after starting all the way back in 28th spot.
Yeah, and you're going to see these drivers really having a tough time trying to work their way through the field, but Gratton's done a great job of getting up to the 17th position. So congrats to him on doing that. And that 46 machine next up before him would be Trey Jackson. But the crazy thing they also say, he's done a good job to work up the 17th. He's 11.4 seconds behind our leader. If this race stays green, it's going to be tough to make up a lot of ground, but there's going to be a lot of mistakes from drivers. We don't expect this thing to stay clean and green. There's going to be somebody beating down that wall, probably spinning here at some point as these tires continue to fall off. And it's really interesting to see which drivers come to the front here in the long runs and which drivers really struggle. We've seen Medlin already really dropping back, while other drivers such as Nick Holland, he drove up the 4th.
Doing a great job up to 4th, and he just continues to climb his way, moving forward up 8 positions from where he qualified. But another driver that's really not in the biggest, I need to make big moves, and knows that he's locked into the playoffs. Timmy McNally in 15th place. This is kind of odd to see, but Timmy McNally, more of the traditional 1.5 miles is where the speed truly is for this 88 machine.
Oh, no doubt for sure, Sam. It seems like he really thrives in that 550 package, and that's showing again once here tonight. I mean, like you said, doesn't need to do big things here. Just needs to go out here, try to get a good run here tonight, and just is in that 15th position right where he started. Doesn't seem like he's gotten to the wall yet, other than maybe a little bit of damage I'm seeing on the right front, actually. So possibly he's already gotten to the wall, but still, nonetheless, having a good run here and just trying to make it into those playoffs like he has with that win, and get there and see what he can do. Is I'm telling you, the win in your in thing, it really changes thing up. I mean, you got drivers like Travis Butt on the outside sitting there. He's up the 3rd or up to the 4th position. A driver like that wins, Sam. Like you said, it pushes that spot, even that cut line up even 1 position farther, and it gets even tougher to make it in by points.
As we're going to actually move up for the battling that's going on for 6th place. But yeah, Travis Butt going to be one of those drivers that I'm interested on the fact that he's had some races. I don't know if he meant to do it, but it seems like he's thrown away a lot of races throughout this season. There's just been like a couple of short tracks where it just seemed like he was going to have a lot of speed, threw it away, and has put himself in this hole on top of also finding himself being wrecked at the end of races where he thought he was going to be strong and running well, as Bowling, Wade, and as well Holland going to be on top of one another out of the corner. But this 0-0 going to be a threat if somehow Travis Butt can make it in the playoffs.
No doubt for sure, Sam. I mean, we've seen it throughout the majority of the Xfinity Series. He was right there each and every week. And look here, Christopher Wade Kyle Bowling, one of our other Xfinity drivers that was so good throughout majority of the season here, battling with Wade and Holland, as Holland has now dropped back to them. This is going to be a battle for a top 5 here soon. But Bowling looking to the inside, it's going to be Dylan Grimm, though, driving up into 23, who's done a good job to really hang on since he's gotten to the wall, and it gets into it once more again as I curse him.
Well, he was doing good. That one seems a little bit harder than the rest for that of Dylan Grimm, and he's going to have to worry about that contact, losing a lot of ground. But luckily, it was just on the side base. But that is something that can continue to grow. Like we said, it's a snowballing effect. When you get damage here at Darlington, it just continues to pile on. The longer the race goes on top of your tire wear, damage as well can tighten these cars up.
Oh, it definitely can. Say it takes that downforce from those race cars, and it really affects them. And I think another driver that got into the wall is possibly our leader. He's got a little bit of right front fender damage. Second place, third place, Sarton and Rickard both not gotten to the wall along with Butt. But our leader, Kyle McCoy, he's been very, very quick here nonetheless. He's been running some fast times, but he has gotten to the wall already and rolled that fender over. You do that too many times, that pace will start to trickle away, and drivers like Cameron Sarton will be a little bit closer in that mirror as he continues again there about another 10th that time to pull away from Sarton. So McCoy says, I don't need a right front fender. I can keep going. I got the pace.
Well, for Kyle McCoy, the biggest thing that I'm worrying about is he's now starting to put drivers a lap down. It's already past Brian Chu and Brett Sommers. The next group of drivers is going to be George Kovacic, John Dart, and Travis Dart. These drivers a little bit more clustered up with one another. As you see here, this is going to be the next driver to go a lap down. George Kovacic, there's John Dart. Then in front of John Dart, you've got Travis Dart and also Patrick Hasty. So their lap traffic has been a factor in this series plenty of times last season, even this season. This wiped out some leaders. Could be another aspect here where if the leaders catch lap traffic at the worst moment, could be seeing Kyle McCoy's day come to a close.
Yeah, and the closing rate is going to be pretty dramatic too. I mean, you're looking at the last car on the lead lap, George Kovacic. He's in the 21st position. He's running a 31.81 right now. Our leader, Kyle McCoy, 31.49. So you're looking at about 0.4 of a second difference in lap time, and that's going to show. When Kyle McCoy gets there, he's going to run up on the back of George Kovacic very quickly. But this track, it's hard to pass. Even the driver that is, 0.3, 0.2 slower than you have a tough time getting around just due to the fact that the other lines that you have to make passes are multiple tenths slower too. So we'll see how he can navigate when he gets to traffic. But the last 2 times by Cameron Sarton has been able to gain some time on that number 7 machine, and again there about another 0.2. So right now Sarton's starting to come forward as McCoy maybe showing signs of wear in that race car. But we are 48 laps in, Sam, here, probably not too far away from pit stops happening.
Well, that was going to be something I was going to bring up, was we have a 90% fuel load for these drivers. When you've got yourselves 3 extra sets, you think about breaking it down to where you make sure you've got an extra set to work with. So that would bring us to 2 pit stops here tonight. Would be around lap 50 to 100, would be a safe breakdown. But for these drivers, when do you want to come into pit road? As that it's looking like for a lot of these drivers, pit road could be here very shortly.
I mean, it could literally happen at any time here, Sam. The thing is, too, with a 90% fuel load, even at this racetrack, you're looking at being able to stretch it up to about 60 laps. I would say this racetrack is not a 1.5 miler, so you're not as long a racing lap. So we could see some people stretch it a farther distance, especially with that caution we had there to allow us to stretch it maybe even a little bit farther. But I believe anywhere from 50 to 55 is where we're going to start to see people coming down. I believe Timmy McNally actually has just started hitting pit road in the 88. So we'll see if any other lead lap drivers decide to come down here in the next few laps.
And one of our biggest movers of the night, Jason Gratton, giving up all the track position to come into pit road here on lap 50. And into pit road, it's Kyle McCoy, our leader, showing that he wants to come in now. Again, breaking it down at lap 50. Not a bad call from the 7 machine, but looking at the pace, Zach, that's going to be the big thing. These drivers, if you're doing an undercut pitting sooner than everyone else, you're going to be gaining a lot more time than the rest of the field.
Oh, you're going to gain a tremendous amount of time. I mean, right there, just in general. We took off in that race at a 29.066. Kyle McCoy's last lap was a 31.30. So, I mean, you're looking at really more than 2 seconds of fall off there. And when you get on that racetrack and you have 2 seconds a lap faster tires, that's 2 seconds each lap that each of these drivers wait before Kyle McCoy comes down. But McCoy, though, I'll tell you what, Sam, I looked at that right front. That thing is pretty beat up. He got into that wall pretty hard. That is going to be a tough deal for him, especially pitting early as now. Looks like Scott Rickard, he's going to pit from the lead, as it looks like last time by it was Sarton who came down.
Yeah, Sarton not want to give up any time. Now it's going to be Nick Holland, Grimm, as well as that of Mike Lynch, all coming into pit road. And 2 drivers did get penalties. It looks like exiting. I think they've been caught either speeding or with an unsafe merge. Going to be that of Jason Gratton as well as Timmy McNally. Both are going to have to come to pit road and get their penalty served. The 88 immediately comes in to serve it.
And look at that, a lot of these race cars coming down pit road here. A lot of right side damage for a lot of them. Very few with a clean race car, and really the only few that I'm looking at that even have a clean race car at the moment. Let's say Scott Rickard. Let's say Cameron Sarton is another driver out there. And really from there, not many others. Most drivers have at least touched the wall. Looks like Ken Campbell still clean. Andrew Medlin actually somewhat, even though he touched the wall at some point, he has a clean right front fender. So some drivers still out there with some clean right front fenders, along with Dylan Glass, actually. Got to give him credit. But yeah, and even Patrick Hasty. I mean, it's pretty impressive to see a few of them 54 laps in not gotten to the wall, but a lot of them torn up already.
Timmy McNally served his penalties back out on track, but speeding onto entry, going to be that of Scott Rickard, going to be given a speeding penalty, held for 40 seconds. 05 still in pit road, going multiple laps down, and this is throwing his race away. Scott Rickard's going to be needing a lot of cautions to get back into this thing.
Oh, yeah, you're looking at losing 2 laps for sure with a penalty like that, and almost possibly even close to 3 with you having to come down pit road. So Scott Rickard there, unfortunate circumstances for that 05 machine. That is going to really hurt his race here. He's going to need cautions to get back into this type of race here, Sam. Very, very unfortunate for that driver.
And Zach, we know you were noting on all the drivers that seemed like they didn't have any type of damage. What's crazy is the amount of bonus points that can be gained by having 0 incident points. You can gain 5 bonus points because of that. So drivers that have already scraped the wall, this is not the way that they want their races to go, because those are some bonus points that would be so necessary moving forward. As Timmy McNally, who had been given a penalty, served it, didn't like how many laps down he was, the 88 has parked it for the day.
Yeah, a few other drivers getting penalty. Jason Gratton, Brett Somers, looks like those 2 have black flags that brought them back down the pit road here through this pit sequence. So definitely an interesting circumstance there. As you can see, Travis Butt still out front leading this race here. I also got to say, he's got a clean front end, and along with Derek Alford in the front too. So it goes to show if you you got that front end clean, you can make your way to the front. Travis Butt, though, he's elected to do the opposite of his teammate here, Sam. His teammate was one of the first to pit there at Kyle McCoy. Travis Butt always on the differing strategies, in my opinion. He is on a different strategy here tonight, stretching it out on this first run. We'll see what that does for him here. But he was 4th before all this transpired. We'll see how far it drops him back and how far he can get back up to.
This seems like such an odd strategy to do in the middle of this race. I mean, yes, you've got the majority of the field all lapped down, but they're going to be able to unlap themselves. And with running about a full 2 seconds slower than the rest of the field, I just don't see how this is a good call by that of Travis Butt and Derek Offerman, who are needing some major points. But for the 00, at least he led one lap. That's 1 bonus point that goes to that team.
Yeah, that is it definitely helps, to get bonus points, but he needs a big game. He needs to win the race, in my opinion. 20 points out, he can make that up in 3 races. But again, that's you having to worry about Nick Holland, Dylan Grimm, where they're running and making up spots on those drivers. And if you go for an off the wall strategy like this and it doesn't work out for you and you lose points still, then you're definitely going to have to win. So I think Travis Butt, he's going to have to try to go for a win. Right now, he's electing to do a little bit of a different strategy here on lap 60. I wouldn't expect too many more laps for this driver, but right now, continuing on to complete lap 60, as he has no signs of pitting yet. Is same with Offerman, and Offerman coming down this time. Dylan Glass, though, going to stay out along with Patrick Hasty.
Still drivers. Derek Offerman comes in as well. Of all those drivers, you can also add that of Travis Dart into the mix of drivers that still need to come into pit road. The majority of the field has already come in. Currently, it's Kyle McCoy leading the drivers that have already come into pit road. Right now in 6th position, over that of 3 and almost a little bit under 4 seconds ahead of that of Cameron Sarton, which Sarton pitted a lap later, so that 13 trying to gain as much time on the 7 as Patrick Hasty running here, just trying to, feel out as long as the 9 can go. But there is some heavy hitters coming behind the 9 that've got fresh tires and are wanting to take those positions back.
Yeah, and it just shows, right here coming down pit road, Hasty nowhere even close to going a lap down to McCoy. Oh, we got a caution on the racetrack. This is going to change the whole picture.
Caution's going to come out, and it's the 2, Mike Lynch, that's going to bring out this one.
Wow, Sam, that is a game changer. Travis Butt there in a great spot along with Dylan Glass. Patrick Hasty there saved the set of tires. The other drivers going to have to question whether they're willing to risk that other extra set of tires if they're going to come down the pit road after this caution.
If you're, again, going to be getting that of the lucky dog goes to Nick Holland, so we'll go to the end of the line as we take an instant replay of what happened here. It's going to be that of the 24. Going to be seeing that of Mike Lynch in the 2 and Brian Lynch in the 24. Going to be making contact here through the corner, which is always a risk when you go side by side here at Darlington. And showing this is going to be bringing out the yellow and changing almost everything for drivers that decide to stay out.
Yeah, you can see there 24 bounced off the wall, 2 nowhere to go, and Brian Lynch into Mike Lynch, and they spin around, and oh no, right in front of the second place driver, Sarton, who, look at that. How does Sarton somehow make it through that? Did he get no damage?
I don't think he did. If he did, he got very little. But he certainly was doing his best to avoid that carnage that was around him.
And I can confirm the damage he has on his race car is very, very little, and it was just from clipping the 2, just from a little hit on the door. And oh man, the 13 Sarton had a wild ride there, Sam. And like you also were saying about the wave rounds there, a lot of drivers are going to have to take the wave there and not really have a choice to come down and get tires.
Be putting them off sequence, and they're probably going to need another yellow to get back on to the trail as drivers into pit road, those that stayed out. Kyle McCoy did not want to come in and waste another set of tires. He'll stay out. Same for that of Cameron Sarton. So the rest of the field, they make their decisions on coming in or not. As we're going to step aside in a quick moment here, we'll come back as we're inching closer and closer to halfway here at Darlington for that of the Sharp Apparel Southern 200 for the Stars and Stripes Cup Series. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Stars and Stripes Cup Series presented by Sharp Apparel here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting Thursday night racing action as it is race number 13 for the Sharp Apparel Southern 200. Drivers got a little bit of one lap extended time to get racing here, but Zach, we're about to go green once again. What are some drivers to watch out for?
Well, McCoy and starting out front on the old tires, but in glass behind on new. This is going to be the tale of two different roads here, Sam.
Again, Dylan Glass, who was going with a huge net gain by staying out, needing a yellow to come out, and it did. But the drivers up front, again, on older tires. The difference, 13 laps. We'll see how well they can do. This is going to be on the inside. It's going to be that of Kyle McCoy, Travis, but the teammates working so soundly together on that restart into turn one. Zach, with having teammates in line, I'm wondering if Kyle McCoy is just going to let Travis Butt go with having those fresher tires.
Yeah, I'd imagine he wouldn't try to hold him up too much. He knows the difference is going to be major here, especially once they get up to temperature here. The little bit of life comes back to the tires there as they roll around on caution, getting a little bit of, the heat out of those tires, and it brings a little bit of grip back. I expect here within a lap or two, those tires to definitely show, but we'll see what the difference is. I mean, so with this package here, it's a little bit harder to pass than normal. Don't have that normal toe like you would as big, so we'll see how well they can navigate with the older tires. It's gonna be tough, but right now holding their own well.
McCoy's doing a great job, and he might be wondering why is half the field a lap down while we were under a middle of a green flag pit stops and through the cycle. Right when we had about 4 drivers still left out on track, the yellow flag waved, and now we're going to be seeing some drivers with some fresher tires than others that are up front. Travis Butt leading that group, Dylan Glass as well as Travis Dart. Those are going to be the 3 drivers in the top 5. They're those to watch out for as the battle for second. It's on. Cameron starting with a better run. Butt's got to be careful. Is that 13? He had one of the best saves and advances away, but here comes the 7. Goes high. Here's the opening. Travis Butt to the lead.
And right there, the tires show. And Kyle McCoy just hanging on to for what he has now as Travis Butt straight away to the lead there and able to make that move. And that just shows the tire difference there. And Sam, it's gonna be tough for Kyle McCoy here and Cameron Sarton. But Sarton was able to stay out a few, there's that extra lap, so he'll have an extra life advantage on him.
I do want to give note as we were watching the battling for the lead and that pass being made, Travis Dart did get loose out of the corner, went from up in the top 5, now back to 15th, last car on the lead lap. And that was something I was going to give note on. We only have 15 drivers on the lead lap. The majority of the field tried to take a wave around, which that helped really for Trey Jackson, Scott Rickard, and as well others that had been finding themselves trapped with being multiple laps down with having penalties during the green flag cycle. So drivers are getting a little bit of a second breath of air, but they're going to need another. Yellow is, oh no, John Dart into the wall. The 66 keeps it up high, and the rest of the field able to drive on by. But that was a very scary situation for everyone around.
Yeah, that was a big moment for sure. And I tell you what, John Dart able to keep it straight. Good job on him here as he comes out of 4. He's going to be backwards all the way almost back to around the 24th position now as that slides him back there. But 1 lap down, major damage, but good job on not bringing a caution out. That could have been a lot of drivers involved in that, and right now he keeps it straight as he heads down the back straightaway. Lap 74 here. But I can tell you a lot of these cars showing that they look like they've been on there for a lot longer, how bad the right sides are.
Yeah, they are certainly brutalizing that outside wall, either in the center of the corner or on exit, where the drivers have been having the most damage. The 10, Chris Essery, involved in our first yellow of the day, trying to rebound up to 9th currently, doing a great job. One of our bigger movers of the day. We got that of 3 drivers up 10 positions. Ken Campbell in 8th place. Patrick Hasty and Travis Dart all up 10 positions for themselves. You see the side-by-side racing going on. Burchett doing his best, but too much damage for the 33. Going to be giving up those positions.
Already what I'm questioning here, Sam, is different strategies. What's going to play out here in this final pit stop? They only need 1 stop here to make it to the end of this race. Where do you come down? Someone like Travis Butt who needs this win, he's got to be thinking about what his strategy is going to be compared to the likes of Kyle McCoy and Cameron Sarton, who are on those older sets of tires right now in that 2nd, 3rd spot. They're going to most likely get pretty aggressive, I'd imagine. But at the same time, We saw what happened to them when they got aggressive before. The strategy came down pretty early to stop. Caution comes out, and they get penalized for it. So, man, do you go aggressive here because you know you're going to have to make up ground the Travis Butt due to the tire difference here, or do you just stick to what you know? So we'll see what strategy is being played, but still some good battling going back here. Scott Ricker here working his way forward.
Good battling all over the place as we are coming up to halfway for the drivers here at Darlington for that of the Sharp Apparel Southern 200 here for the Stars and Stripes Cup Series Season 4, race number 13, as we are underway coming to the end of the regular season. Only 15 races for the regular season as we're trying to find our 12 drivers that will race for a championship. And see that of Christopher Wade, one of the drivers that's actually gotten a win and is already locked in. And behind him, a little bit of a scare for that of the 05 of Scott Rickard. And Rickard's in an interesting spot. The timing of the yellow allowed him to at least stay one lap down, but he's still trying to become the first car lap down. The driver he's trying to catch up to, Trey Jackson, who's about a full straightaway ahead.
Yeah, got a long way up to Trey Jackson. It all was, just exemplified by that speeding penalty on pit road for Scott Ricker. That really hurt him and has put him in this position. So we'll see what he can do to rebound with Trey Jackson right now. First car lap down in the 16th position. He really wants to see a caution here to get back on the lead lap at some point. He is near that cut line, also not too many points above it. He needs to have a good last 3 races if he wants to have a chance, especially with someone like Travis Butt leading this race. This is almost worst case scenario for a driver like Trey Jackson.
Yeah, but for Trey Jackson, at least the other drivers he's got to keep in mind is where's Dylan Grimm? Grimm is going to be a driver in 6th place. Okay, got to get ahead of that driver. And then as well, look at where Nick Holland is, and Holland going to be in 11th. So there's a little bit of a buffer for all these drivers to work around with Trey Jackson not liking if the race ended where they're at right now, would be losing a lot of points and making that closer to the gap and bubble even closer than it is now, which is already just 17 points.
Yeah, and I can tell you one place you definitely want to have a buffer going into is that final regular season race at Talladega. I mean, that place, you're never guaranteed points. I mean, you could be first coming out of turn 4 and end up 20th by the start-finish line at Talladega. So they definitely want to build a buffer before they head in there. But, man, it's going to be exciting to see how that all plays out. It's so close there. There's enough points up for grabs with how many people show up each and every week. This is going to be a really exciting ending to the regular season. And nonetheless, right now, Travis Butt, he's really turning things upside down if he's able to control this race all the way down to the end. But we'll have to see. I mean, we've already had one yellow to turn the race on upside down. Do we get another one that does the same?
As we're watching right now, the battling for 10th place, Chris Essery in the 10. He's got that of 68, Nick Holland behind him. But yeah, a yellow could change everything. Again, the drivers were in a position where they have to pit one more time. Even with the time of the yellow and where they came into pit road, they're still going to have to come in. Here comes Aaron Hale. First jet trying to follow it in as well as we hop on board with the 4, going all the way down to the dotted line, trying to hold down low. And Zach, you could just sense the 4. He's wheeling it, but have to be careful, almost getting into the outside.
Oh, man, you can see that little bit of correction there from him coming off a 4. Lighting the rear tires up as he made that pass on Nick Holland. Great job by Aaron Hale. Next up, it's Chris Essery directly ahead of him, and he looks to be a little bit stronger than that Tim Machine as he's starting to drive away from the 60 out Holland, who has Offerman right directly behind him, but it's actually Brian Burchett who's a lap down in between those two. So in that 33 machine, who's putting pressure on Nick Holland.
The gap between that we've seen 4th to 5th. Those drivers going to be having a major gap just because of everyone that had to drive through the field. Majority of the drivers that we're seeing right now, Nick Holland, yes, he took a wave around, one of those drivers that did. Going to be thinking about pit road here in the next 30 laps. He's going to be putting around lap 105 to about 110. Going to be the window I'm expecting a lot of these drivers to think about coming into pit road, just because it gives them an opportunity to get back and gain some time as the 10 into the outside wall, losing ground in a blink of an eye. Just like that, Chris Essery goes from battling for 10th all the way to 13th.
Yeah, that is not a fun time for him to lose that track position, as he just has had a tough time all night. Had the OL, like we said, to start the race, got involved in a caution. That was the most track position he's had all night long, and now Essery pushed even farther back. So Nick Holland definitely liking that. Same with Aaron Hill there, as that allows those two to get on by and try to drive away from Chris Essery. But I tell you what, while all that happened, second place was able to change even. 13 at Cameron Sarton was able to get by Kyle McCoy here about 4 or 5 laps ago, and he's been driving a little bit away from McCoy here as the tires only about 1 lap difference there between those two, but it looks like that damage on McCoy really starting to affect him as now Dylan Glass behind there making his move on the fresher tires.
That was a beautiful pass by Dylan Glass. Set it completely up in the entry of turn 3. Just slow down a little bit more so we can get back on the outside of the 7, and now it's taken off. Dylan Glass, with being off sequence and having the fresher tires, enabling the 42 to be up front, biggest mover of the night. Started back in 19th, up to 16th for this 42 machine. He's been running pretty similar to what our leader was running about 5 laps ago, has tapered off after, following in suit with the 7. We'll see in these upcoming laps on where the real times compare, but I gotta say, Glass is looking quick, but the gap might be too big for the 42 to run down that of Travis Butt.
Yeah, looking quick for sure, Sam, but I think you're perfectly right about that. Too big a gap possibly here to run that down before even we probably get to the next pit stop for those drivers. So, yeah, he came in here 42 points out in that 42 machine from that final playoff spot with Nick Holland. Having a good run here tonight. If Travis Butt wins, like we said, it pushes the cut line up even 1 more position. So it kind of gets still definitely makes it a little bit tougher to get in, but it's still close there with the points. If he can have a great run here the next race, as always, he bounces off the wall in the 3rd position. Now going to lose ground as he doesn't need that. He's going to need to gain a lot of points to stay on these final 3 races. I possibly think it might take a win from how far back he is.
Yeah, a win is it was on my circle for the 42. Was a win was going to be the most important thing. If there was some amazing top 3 finishes for tonight in the next 2 weeks, potentially could point Dylan Glass into the final 12. But again, they're battling for that 12th place in points. But at the same time, they can get bumped out if someone that's further out, anyone that's not in the top 12 currently wins. They will be taking that spot and bumping somebody out. And currently that'd be Nick Holland. But these drivers all putting on the best show that they can as that of Sarton, Glass. They continue to battle against one another as we're on lap 91 of 146.
And while all that has been going on, this battling here for the 2nd spot, Travis Butt, he is driven away. He is 5 seconds to the gap up here as he's got firmly in control. The yellow comes out here on the racetrack, and it's going to flip the race upside down again.
And it's going to be the 2 once again of Mike Lynch. Going to be bringing out this yellow, I believe. As the 2. Usually you don't like to see wrecks happen, but almost aftermath of other drivers coming in late. But another yellow, 3rd of the night here at Darlington.
Yeah, and this one right here, caution coming out for him. Getting into that wall off late exit of 2 there, Sam, and then kind of just pull back up in traffic because I think we'll get a good shot here of it.
As we're going to be seeing the 2, again, going to be coming out of the corner, extremely aggressive. It's going to be on the back stretch when we watch out for this, but the 2 certainly came with a lot of speed here, Zach, and the struggle and trouble spot for most of the night right here out of turn 2 into the outside wall.
Yeah, you're going to see it here. Gets tight up into the wall, bounces from there into the inside wall. We're not going to get a caution here yet, though. This is not going to is not what brings out the caution here. Is he hits this inside wall, he bounces here another time, but from here he's going to hit that wall one more time. It's going to send the nose around. He's going to look to just drive around and turn the car around here. But as he goes to get up on the racing surface, you have the 66 of John Dart coming and Kyle McCoy there in that 4th position coming. And here he's going to even make a little bit of contact to John Dart as he comes by, and that's what's going to bring the yellow out.
It's one of the weirder slow U-turns I've ever seen. Usually drivers try to do a half burnout, try to do a half donut, get themselves straightened out that way. They know they're going to be burning off some rubber, but at least getting straight. But that little bit of a lazy turnaround brings out our 3rd yellow of the day. And Travis Butt going to be staying out not coming into pit road. A little bit of faking going on between these drivers, mind games. Not surprised that they're trying little different things to see who's going to go into pit road and get service done.
Yeah, there, and it looks like this is going to kind of bring everything back kind of to somewhat normal there for these drivers. It'll bring everybody kind of back on an even playing field, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see now what can Kyle McCoy do with that damage. I mean, he just didn't look as strong, but I think he got that car worked on. Yeah, actually looking at that race car, they definitely worked on that during the pit stop. He might have lost a little bit of track position due to that, but the speed we've seen from him tonight, it's been impressive. We'll see if he can work his way back up. He's going to lose a lot of spots though with the camera start.
Of drivers that came in to get repairs done, Chris Essery, Travis Dart, as well as that of Nick Holland in pit road for over 30 seconds to get repairs done for those machines, just showing that damage didn't feel comfortable continuing to stay out there as the rest of the field, 4 tires, fuel, and back out on track. As Travis Butt looking good for that 00 up front, got that track position that's so important. Same for Dylan Glass, but can they hold on? Because they were on the advantage with being on the offset of 15 lap fresher tires than the drivers around them. Now everyone's on the same equal footing. This is when things get a little bit more frisky of, can Travis Butt hold on? And when and how is Kyle McCoy going to get back into the mix of things? Because that 7 had damage, had to get repaired, only back in 9th place.
Yeah, we'll have to see what he can do to work his way back up for the 7 of Kyle McCoy. But the real big thing I'm looking at is Travis Butt, his teammates out front. Butt has to win this race. I mean, he doesn't necessarily have to win it, but it'll make him feel a ton better going into those final 2 races at Gateway and Talladega than having to worry about pointing his way in there. And he's 20 points out coming into the night. I mean, this could be monumental for Travis Butt's season here. It could mean everything for his chances to run for a championship. This is a shot here, Sam. I think he's going to be super aggressive. We've seen him be aggressive all season long, but I think he turns that aggressive, style up even more. And I don't know if you're going to see people trying to get around him. It may take contact to get around this 00.
Well, that's happened though this season already. There's been multiple times where contact has spun the 00 around, went from potentially winning or having a top 3 finish to being outside of the top 15 in a blink of an eye. Travis Butt hoping to have a great run here, hold off that of Cameron Sarton and others behind that are hungry to get themselves more wins if possible. But the pace car is off. We're ready to go green. It's the Stars and Stripes Cup Series presented by Sharp Apparel, as it is race number 13 for the Sharp Apparel Southern 200. We are green and they're wrecking already.
Oh no, wheel spin has got him, Sam, and no caution yet on the racing surface, but I imagine they'll throw it. Yeah, and the admin's going to throw that caution there.
Admin thrown yellow. All the drivers were technically off the racing line. The racing line very narrow here at Darlington. That's why you can go green for quite a long time, but a giant wreck that collects many drivers. Mike Lynch had already gotten himself required damage. Kyle Bowling, heavy damage for the 44, as well as Nick Holland, who had just gotten repairs done for the 68. Required damage has to come into pit road.
Oh man, just so many people's cars hurt there. McCoy, one of the favorites for the race, major damage on the front of his nose. That right there just all started around Dylan Glass and the 23 of Grimm. Glass spins the tires, but Grimm also did. And when Grimm did it, he spun it all the way straight into the outside wall. So just an unfortunate stack up there on the restart zone. And man, that is on fresh tires here. That just shows you how much horsepower these race cars have and how little grip they have to put down that power.
Well, that was something I noted on it even right before we went green here today, was that wheel spin has always been a factor when you come to Darlington. It doesn't matter if you're on new or old tires, it's always going to be something to watch out for. And bringing out our 4th caution of the night. Well, you saw it there live. A calamity wreck that brings out many drivers having their days ruined. We're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll update you on who's still out there running, who's in the best position here to win the Southern 200. We'll be back in just a few here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Welcome back to Green Flag Racing here at Darlington for the track that's too tough to tame, and we're here, Green Flag Racing, watching these drivers attacking here at Darlington, and it's the battle for second that's on. Sartin trying to hold on as that of Kyle McCoy and others side by side with that of Medlin.
Oh yeah, good battle in there. McCoy trying to get by Medlin. He clears him there for the third spot, now up to third, and you can see he got major damage, Sam, from that collision before. That nose is hurt pretty bad as he's up to third, but I think that's going to hurt his pace overall for this race.
It really is. Also, want to give notice, or we're riding on board with 12 of Medlin, of Patrick Hasty. Damage. Grant came off turn 2, loose, got into the inside wall and got stuck in the wall. So the 9 had to take the toe to pit road to get back into this race. But as we're watching from the 12's point of view, running currently in 4th, but we're going to move back up to the lead as it's Cameron Sartin, fresh tires, equal footing. He's going for the lead on the inside, but it's going to be Travis Butt holding strong, coming out of turn number 4.
Oh man, Travis Butt already fighting strong. Sartin had a chance, but just shows you he made a move. Look how far back he is now. It's almost the same distance between him to McCoy now, and that is just amazing. You lose that much speed and momentum. Here he comes again off of 2. Another good run here as he closes the gap down to the 00 ahead. Sartin going to have to pull out every trick in his bag here to get by him. I think the key to this, Sam, here, these guys can make it to the end of fuel. They got enough power to get down to the end here. Also, if Sartin thinks he can get this done, I think it's going to have to happen on the long run. You're going to have to be better when the run comes into the end. I don't think you're getting around Travis Butt here at the beginning while Butt still has a lot of grip and able to make moves in the field.
Well, if you think of that extreme long green flag run that we had that brought out green flag pit stops, the 00 was running around 5th, 6th position, was very comfortable, kind of plateaued there. He wasn't a race-winning car, it seemed like, but now, here with track position, fresh tires, able to defend much better is the 00. But Sartin, he's feeling pinched, he's squeezed as he's got teammates putting him in the sandwich.
Oh man, big moment there coming off of 4. 13 gives him a break as they go down into 1 and 2, but it shoves Sartin up into the wall. Big moment for him. He's got to hold it up into it. Now McCoy up to 2nd. Is there goes Medlin by 3rd for Sartin as he's going to continue to follow his glass, make it to his inside here in the 3.
A major wiggle there from the 13, and instead of taking out that of Kyle McCoy, decided just to end his race, put it into the outside wall. Luckily, is still able to run here, Zach, but that was a hard lick for Cameron Sartin.
Yeah, and what was interesting is a little wiggle from Butt ahead of him made him change his lane to up to that top lane to the very against the wall 1 and 2. That puts him into the wall. He bounces off it once more, like you said, trying to keep it off of Kyle McCoy. And from there, major damage. You just got to say the 13 going to be probably trying to hang on. If he can get a caution and get that work on, we'll see what it can do. But, man, tough break for Cameron Sartin, who had a lot of pace, was looking to be maybe in the catbird seat to take that win away from Travis, but not let him lock himself in. I mean, that's taking away a driver that could very well win this championship if I was Cameron Sartin thinking about it. So that would be a huge thing for him to not let Travis Butt win. But Kyle McCoy now with Travis Butt up front, McCoy is going to be all about that.
Yeah, he's loving it right now. And the group that we're looking at right now, want to look at the 10, currently behind that of Christopher Wade in 7th place. That is going to be Chris Essery, involved in our first yellow of the day on lap number 10. The 10 machine, though, there's still no give up. He's now up to 7th as everyone else was caught up in that giant wreck on the last restart with wheel spin. And now Chris Essery with an opportunity to go for that of a top 5 finish here.
Yeah, Chris Essery, I mean, what a up and down type of race. EOL to start. Gets involved in a wreck, gets pushed back again, gets into the wall, gets even farther back, and now able to possibly fight for top 5, and that's just the never give up mentality. And Darlington, place where attrition is coming to a factor. I mean, not many cars here with a clean right side. One of the only cars I can see that has it is the cars that are 1st and 3rd right now. Travis Butt and Andrew Medlin both have a clean right front fender, and you can't say that for many of these cars out here.
No, not many at all. As they continue to race right now, you're seeing the 53. This is for the battle for 6th place currently. And then in front of them, you got Dylan Glass, Cameron Sartin. That's 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th on screen currently. But our top 3, they're starting to squeeze up on top of one another as well as Andrew Medlin. He's now caught up to the back of the 7 of Kyle McCoy, and they're starting to gain on to Travis Butt together.
That they are really starting to gain back up right to the back bumper. And Medlin, I mean, showing life here. You know, we've seen him be very strong at the very beginning of this race. When he got in second, he burned those tires up. Now, late in this race, maybe has figured out what he needs here late in the going to have a chance. The winner from Kentucky looking strong once again, Sam.
Trying to get a second win for the 12, but that's the big thing about these, you know, multiple times you have to come to pit road. You can learn so much in these first pit stops of how much grip are you really using up? Do I need to be less aggressive or more aggressive? And right now, we're starting to see Andrew Medlin coming up with a head of steam, and with a little bit more of drivers splitting off and our leaders starting to battle more. Cameron Sarton, Dylan Glass, they're starting to trickle their way moving forward.
Yeah, a lot of drivers are starting to trickle up here back to the front. It's kind of starting to be a little bit of a logjam. Even all the way back to Trey Jackson, it's only 3 seconds. I mean, that is not that far for 8 cars in this style of a package here. And we're going to be nearing 30 to go here very quickly. This is anybody's race really right now. Drivers could easily bounce off that wall and go backwards. We've seen it already before. You get into the wall, lose that momentum, you go back multiple positions and lose multiple seconds. Only 3 seconds separating that top 8. It is anybody's game in that top 8.
I mean, even during practice, I was watching some of even these top competitors, Travis Butt, Kyle McCoy, they were having issues coming out of turn 2 during practice, and they've gone into the wall a couple of times, and they're going to be trying to avoid getting any more damage. But Andrew Medlin, just getting to the quarter panel and the goal. I mean, when you're coming out of the corner, that you'd much rather be on the outside. It's Sarton hard into the wall for the 13, clobbers it again, just trying to turn that whole entire right side into a pancake at this point. Is Cameron Sarton. He's in 4th place really comfortably right now, but I don't know for how long as we continue to watch the battling for second.
Yeah, that was a heavy lick there for him as McCoy trying to hold off Medlin. It's also brought Sarton again, even after hitting that wall right into this battle. I think McCoy, that damage on the front end, starting to fall off. That is going to start to really hurt there. That does not make good downforce when that splitter is damaged, and that's when you're going to see tire wear start to kick in. The tires are good. You got a lot of mechanical grip. You can kind of overcome those downforce issues that would be going away from that car. Now, as that run goes on, the lower your downforce is, the worse your tire wear is going to be. Kyle McCoy just trying to hang on for anything. If he can salvage a top 5, which I think he can with that damage, and possibly even a top 3, that would be a win in my books for him with that type of nose.
And up front, they continue to stay in line. We're going to fall back to the drivers that, again, are on our window of they need a good day, and that's going to be around watching Chris Essery in 6th, trying to make the pass, able to get by Christopher Wade. But there's Trey Jackson, Derek Offerman. They were thinking about following the 10, but had to back out. Now they've got to try to reassess and figure out how to get by the 53.
Yeah, 53 here, kind of a little bit of a log jam here, and Essery trying everything in his power to get around him, but you know, now Trey Jackson up to that back bumper as Essery was able to get there around him. But Offerman also coming in the picture. Got to say, Offerman also one of the cleaner cars also in this race, doesn't have no damage. So he's been able to drive his way up into this picture. And this is the battle again, 7th, 8th, and 9th here, right on the end of this top 10. They got about a 4-second gap back to Aaron Hill, too. So they got room to race here, Sam, and they can get up some time here racing for positions.
And drivers, you know, from looking clean to looking like a modified, will drop back to 12th position, where Nick Holland is struggling, able to defend for now over that of Brian Burchett and also Dylan Grimm. But for how long? This 68 machine has been under fire ever since the last restart. The damage from the previous wreck certainly now is overwhelming Nick Holland.
Yeah, Nick Collins, as you can see the wiggle there in 1 and 2, just trying to hold on to that race car there. No front end, and he's trying everything in his power. He bumps into the outside wall, Grimm into the rear bumper. He saves it down the back straightaway. Sam, that could have been the caution right there that a lot of these drivers don't want to see. And Nick Holland with a great save.
Grimm's going to be hurting from that one, though. Hard lick for the front bumper. This is going to be giving an opportunity for other drivers to get back into the mix. And the driver that wanted that yellow, Scott Rickard, he's back in 20th, still a lap down, running behind Dylan Grimm. And we know the 05 has some speed to challenge. Those are up front, but currently just waiting for a yellow to come out and hoping that he's not involved with it.
Oh, and in front of him is Nick Holland losing it there on the inside, and he keeps it straight. But, man, Nick Holland is struggling without that front end there into the outside wall, and he is really falling back here quickly. I mean, That is going to be Brian Lynch getting by him now. So that's going to slide him back to around 15th place, with King Campbell now even coming up to the back here soon, as he's got he's got drivers looking to take positions, and Nick Holland with that driver on the cut line. This is not what he wants to see, especially Travis Butt leading.
Absolutely not. And as we were watching that chaos, the battle for 7th and 8th was moved up. Derek Offerman, Trey Jackson able to get by Christopher Wade. Wade is falling back as he's losing ground. But looking through the field, you know, other battles that are on track for position, we move for 16th, where we got the 0209, and as well the 15 battling for 16th place.
Yeah, 209 Travis Dart there. He's come up into this picture along with Ken Campbell in the 15 machine. They're trying to get by Nick Holland. We've seen Nick Holland. It's been a struggle here lately, and he's been doing everything in his power just to hold on to these spots, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. I mean, it's surprising he's able to do what he can with that car right now, but you can see it is a handful off the exit. Here comes Travis Dart. Going to look to the inside in that 209 machine, trying to take the spot. That's going to be another one taken away. Is the straight line speed not there for that race car?
No, and the two modifieds with no front clips and both somehow have back bumpers. That of Nick Holland, Ken Campbell, now they're racing for 16th place. And for Nick Holland, comes in as our bubble driver, but with where the drivers run currently, Travis Butt would knock the 68 out of our playoffs, taking the win in your in system. The 00 would be racing up to that of Bristol when we get to the playoffs, and that's the goal right now for the 00. As these drivers for the 68, Nick Holland, he cannot afford to lose more positions, and he's under fire once again.
Yeah, under fire once again. Like you said, it's the modified race here now, as Kid Campbell been able to do a little bit better in his modified, but also behind them, can't look too far, as Brian Chu and George Kovasic there in 18th and 19th, who are closing down on these two here in the closing laps. And Nick Holland needs every position available. It looks like Chu gets into the wall there, but that's 68 struggling right now, Sam. It could possibly be a 19th place finish for him at worst, it seems to me.
Also got to be concerned with no front clip, and that front end damage could be, you know, seeing some engine potentially expiring. They got to be careful of that looming and make sure those temps are not in any type of danger. But as that passes are going on further back, we're going to move back up front. The battle for second place, Cameron Sarton and Kyle McCoy, it's back on, and Sarton needs to make this pass because Travis Butt is pulling away and feeling comfortable for himself.
Yeah, at one point we would have thought this was going to be the battle for the win. Now it's the battle for second, as both of them heavily damaged into this race. But Sarton able to get by Medlin as he gets into the wall. It looks like again, but Medlin has to check up. Doesn't like he'll be able to make the move. But that gives McCoy a little bit of breathing room. But Travis Butt, clean, very much clean race car. He's been able to drive from that 10th position up to the lead by using that strategy to go long into that caution period that has got him out front. Sammy, he hasn't looked back, man. I think he was just saving tires there, knowing what them guys had behind them was hurt race cars.
Just taking off. Over 2.3 seconds is the difference between the 00 Travis Butt and this battle that we see on track for second place. And Kyle McCoy feeling good. And as a teammate, I mean, he's defending for sure, but that damage is honestly taking this win away from the 7 that got the pole, was looking so dominant during practice, qualifying, and in the early portions of this race. Kyle McCoy didn't want to get this type of damage, but that's kind of what this track gives. It's too tough to tame. You get your Darlington stripes, and sometimes a little bit more if you're not in the right place.
Yeah, you know, it's going to be a tough break here for Kyle McCoy. You know, he's seen this one slip away from him. Such as rocking him. He's had some dominant performances this season that haven't gone with a win. So I think that's got to be getting old for him. But at the same thing, the bright thing on his side, his teammate here winning this race is what he wants to see. If it was anybody else winning, I don't think he would be too happy with the finish of this race. But with Travis Butt getting that victory, knowing his teammate will get into those playoffs, that is going to be a huge sigh of relief for that group there. So I'm sure right now McCoy a little frustrated, but also deep down inside a little bit happy for teammate Travis Butt right now leading this race with coming to 16 to go next time by. If we can see these next 16 clean and green, Sam, I think Travis Butt has got clear selling, but All it takes is one simple mistake, one yellow. There goes Sarton for the move on McCoy, and he's going to get it done, I think, here, and he will slide up in front and take that second spot.
A beautiful slide job move, but here comes the crossover from the 7 of Kyle McCoy, trying to get right back on the back bumper, trying to use the draft if possible going into this next attempt, but just not close enough as the 7. Great defensive move by the 13 of Cameron Sarton, and taking that second place position with almost ease, it looked like, with that dive bomb move.
It really did, Sam. That was a move that I didn't expect to be able to stick that well, but it all set up for the run coming out too. McCoy had to lift there late on the exit not to get into the wall, and now in the dirty air, McCoy's starting to struggle a little bit here as he's dropped back to third. Man, oh man, Sarton able to make that move. Now can McCoy hold off Medlin? That's going to be the key. Can he get there if Medlin is able to make up for the mistakes here in that dirty air? Going to make that 7 even worse.
Well, for these 3 drivers that are watching, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, they've all gotten a win so far. So it really doesn't matter based off of points too much on where they finish here. They certainly are wanting to make sure they're in the podium position to get to talk with us up in the booth and our post-race show here tonight. We'll talk to our top 3 and get their thoughts as the laps continue to tick away. Travis Butt still feeling comfortable, confident. Over 3 seconds now is the gap between himself and Cameron Sarton. As we look through the rest of the field, the potential of a yellow always going to be looming, as some other drivers that have called it a night already, going to be Patrick Hasty, John Dart, they are done for tonight. And just like that, Kyle McCoy, one mistake, and there goes Medlin to the inside, trying to clear, not able to, and fighting back is Kyle McCoy.
Whoa, that was a lot of fight shown there by Kyle McCoy. He could have gave in to that, but he says, no, sir, I want to be on the podium. I want to talk to Freaky fast tonight, as he's able to hold on to that 3rd spot. That's going to let Sarton get a little more breathing room. Medlin's going to have to try to come back at that number 7 machine and try to make a move, Sam, here and see what he could do. The one thing I look for, though, here in these closing laps is about a 3.5-second gap up to Travis Butt from Cameron Sarton. Though Travis Butt has some traffic coming. It's George Kosick, it's Brian Chu, and Nick Collin at 68, not too far ahead of that leader. He's definitely gonna catch traffic, and you got to remember, Nick Collin, one of those drivers fighting, on the cut line. How much slack is he gonna cut for Travis Butt?
Also, it matters on how much time. Is there enough laps for these lap traffic to be a big enough factor on the time that's going to be lost? As right now, but going through the corner, going to be coming out of turn number 4, coming to the line, and this is going to be interesting to see for the 10. As you see that pack of drivers, there's 5 of them there that the 00 has to deal with. But I'm expecting the majority of them just to go down low, like the 2 there, just getting out of the way, underpowered, not wanting to be a factor. 11 laps when they come across the line, 10 to go here for the Sharp Apparel Southern 200. And it's Travis Butt up front, but there are multiple drivers low as they are getting back out on track. Just chaos everywhere on track.
Nick Holland, major moment there. It's going to bring the caution out. I don't know how that all happened, but I mean, he just spun it right onto the racing surface.
Almost wiping out some of the drivers on the lead lap, but this is the most bizarre accident. I mean, you don't want to call it purposeful, but one of the weirdest accidents I think I've seen in a long time here on Freaky Fast, as it was battling between the 68 and the 29, Nick Holland and Cole Sacchetti. And then they wreck each other, and then this is just an odd wreck here, Zach.
Yeah, you're going to see this here. It all starts off of turn 2. Turn 2 always seems to be the culprit for a lot of incidents here at this racetrack, but the 68 is going to bounce off the wall, actually, as he cuts back under the 29. He's going to bounce off the wall here on this exit. And when he bounces off the wall, the 29 has really nowhere to go for him and Cole Sacchetti. So, nothing on him here. But you're going to see after this is what brings out the caution, because this happened as the leader, Travis Butt, had just went by. I mean, he was right there coming off of turn 2, as you can see there in the background. You're going to see these 2 hit this inside wall. But from what I gathered from this, I think the 68 just spins the rear tires up trying to get up to speed. And, I mean, this is just one of the more bizarre.
Potentially, because then he just throws it into gear and goes up high. I mean, it's so odd. He was just burning it out, trying to get out of the way. It's one of the most odd accidents to come out. But now the rest of the field they're in a position where some drivers have a chance to win here tonight based off of staying out on track compared to those that took tires, Zach.
Oh man, Sam, this is like I said, cautions here at Daytona or at Darlington can really shake things up, and it looks like the group of drivers that all stayed out are all going to be coming down pit road. As looks like Brett Summers, he's laps down, he's going to stay there, but from what I'm seeing, yeah, it looks like just the 24 maybe might stay out here, and Brian Lynch. So maybe one driver of the only there to stay out is the rest of that group comes down here on the second time by.
Well, Scott Rickard's going to be now back onto the lead lap with the timing of this yellow. And now it's going to be that of Brian Lynch, Travis Butt, Cameron Sarton, Andrew Medlin, and Dylan Glass going to be your top 5 getting ready to go green here. And it's everyone from second on back that came in, took tires, ready to get racing action. Kyle McCoy, though, did stay in pit road for an extended time, getting those repairs done. We'll see how the 7 is going to be able to defend now, being all the way back in 17th position. That is a lot of time and ground. But Kyle McCoy decided to just give up. Now Travis Butt, he is on his lonesome with no teammate help.
Yeah, no teammate buffer here, as they would say. And, you know, with Brian Lynch starting in there on the lead, he's going to be able to control this restart. This is going to give Sarton the ability here, and Medlin, along with Dylan Glass, some type of ability here to make some type of move. And you never know. Does Brian Lynch spin the tires real bad, Sarton get trapped behind him, or does, you know, Brian Lynch get a good jump where he can get out in front and Sarton can use that to get side by side? It's going to be the age-old question, but I think Will Spin is just going to be so bad for that 24 that Sarton is going to have a tough time. And, you know, you got to watch out for almost a similar instance we seen earlier with Grimm and Glass. They both spun the tires on row 2, and it caused a huge wreck. Could we see that from the front row?
It's honestly extremely possible. 43 lap older tires is going to be the 24 compared to those that just came into pit road and got freshies. So those old tires going to be causing the 24 to be a little bit of a scare. We've already seen wheel spin be a factor to watch out for. But again, we haven't seen the 24 up front that much here tonight. It's been a lot of that of Butt, McCoy, and Sarton up front. And Zach, while we're on the backstretch, we know if we get the lap 5 and a yellow comes out, we go into overtime. But are you expecting us to be able to survive on this restart?
Oh, Sam, with these older tires up front, Brian Lynch, this is going to be a wild restart. I don't expect us to get back to this thing with the white flag at some point. I think we see a yellow flag again.
Well, it's on. Pace car is off. The Stars and Stripes Cup Series presented by Sharp Apparel. They're ready for the stars to be aligned here. Who's going to get it done as it's the Sharp Apparel Southern 200. One of our final restarts of the race. They're jamming up. They're clogging. They're 3 wide. They're wrecking potentially. They stay straight, but that could have been the big one as Lynch completely clogs up the field and Travis Butt is gone.
Oh, that really clogged it all up, but Travis Butt able to get the good jump, and he gets to the lead early. Sarton able to get around. Glass now to third. Medlin back to fourth. As, man, everybody running Brian Lynch over down the back straightaway.
3 wide down into turn number 3. Not where you want to be. Brian Lynch going to be up into the wall. He's drifting. He's sideways. And now it's going to be Derek Offerman trapped on the outside as everyone else goes low, slow, and hold on. There goes Trey Jackson into the wall as there's still 3 wide and we stay green. 5 laps to go. And it's still a madhouse trying to get by the 24.
Oh, and Kyle McCoy doing the big slide job. And look at the Grimm and the 23 going around.
They're bouncing off one another. They're keeping it straight, but it's going to be Scott Rickard and others. Yellow flag flies, and we're going to overtime.
Oh, I told you it was too good to be true, and I had a good feeling that was going to come out. Just so much of a speed difference. I mean, you're looking at upwards of 3 seconds in the lap time department from them tires he had on there. So, yeah, that just shows there, and, man, good job by Brian Lynch holding on to it the best he could, but the field was having a tough time getting around.
It just, every lap, every corner, it was madness. You didn't know how things were going to go, but a lot of the drivers were for sure thought that was going to be a big wreck, but now this allows everyone to reset. Travis Butt, Cameron Sarton, they're going to be on equal footing on this next restart, which, Zach, with the timing, this should be putting us into overtime with the amount of drivers that need to go around for a wave around, giving drivers an opportunity to go into pit road. And these drivers only get one attempt at overtime, so this should be our last restart once we go green.
Yeah, last restart for sure for the night, as we only got that one attempt, like you said. But man, Travis Butt, he's gotta put the wheel spin out of the back of his mind here. If he spins the tires, he gets starting a chance to go side by side. I imagine Butt's going to take the outside line. I think that's the way to go, but you never know with these situations, Sam. I think that's got to be what he does here. But Sarton gonna be looking for any little opportunity. Is even meddling up to third there. So Glass must have had something happen there while all that melee was going on after he had got up to third.
Well, again, our front two were able to take off. Everyone else kind of had a split between everyone, and there was a mass black flag clear because you're not supposed to be crossing the line when you're coming across the line, side by side and changing lanes. So there were a bunch of black flags that were thrown, and that reset a lot of the drivers. Luckily, race admins did change that and cleared all the black flags on that incident, but this is now putting these drivers into overtime. Like we said, this is our one and only attempt that the driver's going to be having, meaning this: if we get to the white flag, the gloves are off, you can beat and you bang. It's all about crossing the line first. But if we go on the restart and a yellow flag waves before we get the white flag, we then just call the race there, and it's where the drivers lied at the timing of the yellow. But we're going to be getting ready to stack up here in the next time they come on by. Zach, this is a playoff-altering race potentially here. Travis Butt, one position out of our top 12, and with this win, he would be knocking out somebody that's already in.
Oh, we've seen how cautions can shake things up. Well, this is going to show you how the wind can shake things up in a race for sure. And Travis Butt, I mean, one of the top drivers in the Xfinity Series last season. We expected him to come into the Cup car and excel just like he did in the Xfinity car. It has not happened. He's had a lot of bad luck, a lot of misfortunes, a lot of run-ins with certain drivers. So it's been one of those seasons of ups and downs and building up to this point, but it all could just come to a forefront right here, get that first win of the season, and it's all over for him at that point. He knows he races for a championship. It's all reset, and he has a good shot. So Sam, this is everything for his season. I imagine Travis Butt is going to be 130% all effort. There's going to be no quit from him. If we see any side-by-side action coming to the line, I would not be surprised if we see a lot of door banging.
Door banging, slamming. This is what Darlington brings, is the unknown for these drivers. Got to give big credits to some of the drivers that have had some great runs. Travis Butt, he's up 9 positions from where he started back in 10th and is leading, looking like the favorite to win here tonight on this restart. If he can get a good restart, that's the key. Then also look down at Chris Essery in 4th place. What a rebound for the 10 machine that went a lap down, I believe, and then also was involved in our first caution of the day, trying to go for a top 5 finish here. You've also got that of Dylan Glass up 13 spots, trying to do his best. Travis Dart is up 14 positions, but it's all down to this, Zach. It's Butt, Sarton, or can someone else get it done?
Well, Sam, Butt needs to get it done the most out of this group here. I mean, it's going to come down to very well. And look at S3. I mean, he's worked his way right into this picture. He's got his teammate right in front of him. Can they work together? Wheel spin's going to be a factor. Let's see who pulls it off.
Pace car's going off. This is overtime. This is it. The one and only restart, and they're already taking off. Travis Butt not playing any games right when the pace car landed off of the racing surface. It was go time. Now Cameron Sarton going to be having over 3 tenths back. He's got to run down the 0-0. Yellow flag waves. We are going to be done. This is how the race will end. Travis Butt gets the win.
Wow, and just like that, race over. 1 green, white checkered in the books. Travis Butt, he's going playoff racing.
Playoff racing, and it was calamity just going on the restart. I believe the 11 of Brian Chu was the driver that brought out the yellow, but he had such bad internet connection that he was blinking, didn't know where other drivers were, and then caused calamity as he was in the middle of the field. So this replay might not be visible to be seen. But Zach coming across the line, he's going to be getting the win here. I mean, this is got to be feeling so good. So many times, at least 2-3 races this season, Travis Butt had a chance to win, but now then got taken out. This go around, he got the major lead. The yellow flag flies, and the 00 is going to victory lane and heading to the playoffs.
Well, Sam, you'll take a win anyway, like I said, any way available to him. And Travis Butt, he's worked, no pun intended, his butt off for this victory here tonight from that 10th position. He played the strategy right. I mean, you got to put it down to that. If he did not stretch it as far, would he have been in the same position? We can't say for sure. I mean, that would have put him back into the mix, and a few guys that were up front tonight, battling up front, didn't get back up there. So, man, great job on him. He's able to pull off the victory, and he's going to be excited for sure. Playoff racing for that 00.
And now the race is over. Drivers are passing by the base car. Some are hesitant as when overtime is over and you're behind the pace car, you're not sure if you really can take off and start doing your burnouts. As 00, instead of getting to victory lane, he's just, to the starting line, he's just going to do burnouts here and just do a tail slap to the 209. Hey, why not? The race is over. You're going to victory lane. Not the way you thought you were going to get done, but for us in the booth, we're going to let the 00 burn it down. When we come back, we're going to be talking to our top three, Andrew Medlin, Cameron Sarton, and cannot believe it, Travis Butt getting the win here at that of the Sharp Apparel Southern 200 at Darlington. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting for the Stars and Stripes Cup Series presented by Sharp Apparel for the Sharp Apparel Southern 200 here tonight. We got our top three, starting things off with that a third-place finisher, Andrew Medlin, to get his thoughts on how tonight went. Andrew, it's Sam and Zach. You come away with the third-place finish, and, it probably wasn't the way you thought the overtime was going to go, but, hey, a third place is still a good finish.
Hey, I'm really happy. I in practice, this thing was skating all over the place. Not sure how much you guys caught on the broadcast of practice, but it looked more like a demolition derby or a figure eight. But I'm really impressed with how well these guys kept it together tonight. We had some long green flag runs. Somehow I qualified third. Not quite sure how still, and I'm even more surprised I finished third. So, but like you said, didn't expect it to end quite that way. But overall, just very happy with the run we had in the number 12 Mobile One Chevy Camaro tonight.
Yeah, definitely a great run, Andrew, man. Congrats on that, bringing home another top 3 finish, and locked in with that win back at Kentucky. Man, you got 2 races to go, Gateway and Talladega. How do you want to close out this regular season to get yourself prepared for those playoffs?
I'll tell you what, I'd really like to get one more win. I mean, I don't want to be greedy and say 2 more, but I really enjoy the super speedway races. Not quite sure how this package races at Talladega. Hope it's not like Daytona at the beginning of the season, but if I can somehow get a second win before the regular season's up, I'll be real happy. But either way, we're sitting good. I'm happy, and we'll give it our best down the stretch here.
Well, Andrew, it was such a great run on your part here tonight. Yeah, we're battling up front, and before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, certainly. I'll start off by giving a shout out to Sharp Apparel for sponsoring the race and the league sponsors, Butt Kicker and Next Level. Give a shout out to you guys up in the booth at Freaky Fast Podcast. Always do a superb job calling the race. My teammates at Wolfpack Racing, overall for the team, it was a pretty rough night. But again, like I said, I'm happy we finished third here, and give a shout out to my wife Sarah, my father Bruce, my brother Aaron. They're usually watching, and yeah, again, just stoked. So looking forward to Gateway next week and finishing off the regular season at Talladega.
We're excited to see how that run's going to go for you. That's Andrew Medlin in that of the 12 machine. Third place finish here tonight. Congratulations on that, and good luck going into Gateway.
Appreciate it. And a last shout out to Jeremy Mayfield in the number 12 Mobile One throwback from the late 90s. One of my favorite paint schemes, and really enjoyed racing it tonight. See you guys next week.
See, Andrew, you rocked it well here tonight. As now we go to second place runner, that of Cameron, starting to get his point of view, and probably a little bit dejected here. We got Cameron up in the booth with Zach and myself. Cameron, I know that wasn't the restart that you wanted there at the end. I know you were looking for a win, but still a top 3 finish after not the cleanest of runs that you've had here tonight.
Yeah, I'm a little frustrated with myself. I hit the wall a couple times, and I just didn't have the straightaway speed there at the end. I think I was down a little bit on horsepower, so I knew I was faster than him. The damage, the right front was killing me, but it is what it is. Get a top 3 is always good. It's just frustrating. I felt like I could have let another one slide away with a little bit of my own mistakes, but it's what it is. Move on next week and be happy about a P2.
Yeah, definitely still a great finish, Cameron, man. I tell you what, congrats on that nonetheless, man. But, you had to miss a major record tonight. I mean, take us through that, because that was about as close as it can get.
Yeah, I think I need a new pair of pants after that one. It was it was a little scary. I saw Kyle come in, and I wanted to at least stay with him on strategy. I knew a lap later was going to put me a few seconds back, but kind of caught him a couple tints here and there, and then I saw them go side by side in front of me, and one guy and another. I was like, "Oh, please don't do this to me!" But it was there. I barely got damage from it. I got a 4x, which is unfortunate. Lost my bonus points there, but it's hard to keep a straight line even on a straightaway at Darlington. So it's just racing. They're battling for position. It is what it is, but it was definitely scary.
Yeah, and Cameron, we're coming closer and closer to playoff racing action. How are you trying to set up with having the momentum going into the playoffs?
Yeah, I feel good. I feel like I'm a top 3 car every single week, if not the fastest, and it's just little mental mistakes or just barely little bitty mistakes here and there that cost me a few seconds every race and puts me not in the winner's circle. So if I can clean those up, I feel like I'll be pretty good. But I'm happy where I'm at and excited for the playoffs. It's going to be fun with the guys in it so far. Going to be pretty competitive and racy.
Oh, Cameron, great run on your part here tonight. As before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, shout out mom, dad, grandparents, wife watching around the great state of Texas. Shout out Chris and Travis, 2 good runs by the other dumbass racing team right here, starting both from dead last, basically. So I think 4th and 11th. So good day for the team wise, and yeah, congrats Travis on the win. A little bit of a Mickey Mouse with the right strategy, but good for him. I'm not really worried.
You're already locked into the playoffs, so that's, I would imagine, is your mindset for yourself. That's going to be Cameron starting in the 13, going to come away with the second place finish here tonight, and good luck going into Gateway next week.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
As now we put ourselves into victory lane, we got that of Travis, but the strategy call to get him up front with the track position and getting the win. Travis, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. What a run for yourself, coming away with that of a win here tonight. But man, overall, that had to be that pit stop strategy, staying out, and then the yellow flu to put yourself in a good position to get the win. How are you feeling after getting the win here tonight?
I feel fantastic. It's good to finally win. I had one coming easily more than anyone else out there. I feel like I've had just the absolute worst luck this year with the season, and I was due for something. I was actually coming in that lap, and then when the yellow came out, I actually veered to stay on the track. So it was perfect timing, and the strategy all worked out perfectly, and it was perfect, So I couldn't be happier. Kyle and Brian and we were talking about strategy, and I think Kyle decided to come early. And I just had a feeling that if I stayed out longer, I felt like it would work better. I've always come in too early and then get a caution. So I had Brian, my teammate, go with me too, and he went in 2 laps before I did, and then 8 screwed him. So feel bad, but they helped me a lot.
Yeah, I tell you what, great way to get yourself into the playoffs there, Travis. What a drive, man. And, you started in that 10th position, worked your way all the way up to 5th before those pit sequences really started kicking off. And you had a lot of pace there. But, getting that lead, getting that track position, getting out front, how much did that affect the race car, and how much better did that thing work out in clean air?
Well, I saved my tires for the first 10 or 12 laps. Before that, when my first caution came out, I knew I had a lot of good rubber left. So, I usually start in the back anyways and work my way up forward anyways. I don't usually stay back in that mid pack very long. So I knew if I was just patient, I'd be fine. And I watched everyone in front of me keep hitting the wall. So I think I might have been the only person in the lead tonight that didn't hit the wall. So, I got rear-ended with that last restart, but other than that, I was in good shape. So I couldn't, I'm as everyone probably said before me, that the tires was a big issue. So, I'm happy with the way it ended,
It certainly ended in your favor. That last restart kind of got gifted it. How surprised were you going into turn 1 and then seeing that yellow flag wave?
Which time? The most recent one?
The last one, on the last
restart? When Randy came over and said, let's get this thing to the green, I'm going to go on there and go, I'll take a caution right off the bat. That's okay with me. You only get one attempt at these things. So, I was ecstatic. I screamed, and I probably woke up my girlfriend, so she's probably going to be mad at me, but it's okay. It's a good reason.
It really is a good reason. A win going to the 0-0. And Travis, before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Let's see here. I would like to thank the whole race team, John Dart, Travis Dart, Chris Essery, and Chris Sarden. They really pushed me here lately and caused me a lot of frustration, but well worth it. Our whole Cyclones team has more wins than all of them. So, the wins speak for itself. Kyle, McCoy, and Brian, we've all put in a bunch of work. So, I'm super proud. We're going to work with Brian a lot, and we're going to see if we can get him a win at Talladega, or, hopefully before that, we're going to work with him a lot. So, I can't thank those, but you guys said that team right there with the Darts and the Essery and Sarden, I can't thank them enough. They do a lot for me. So, but other than that, my girlfriend, she's awesome. She's let me do this. She kind of left me alone and let me do my thing. I was concentrating and sweating. So, shout out to her. Let's do Anthony Carf, awesome. He was always supportive and I think stayed the whole time. So thank him. The sports commute, they came on with me and, they had the great podcast. So, if you guys could get a chance, the sports commute, it's funny and it's enjoyable. And then thanks to you guys and everyone who puts on the league. It was fun. I had a great, about time I was due for a win. So we'll go from there. So, like I said, I can't thank Sarton and Essery and the Darts, can't thank them enough.
That's going to be Travis Butt coming away with a win here tonight. Well deserved. It's been a long time.
Oh, yeah. My buddy Lob. I got shout out to my buddy Lob, too. I see him checking in, so he'll get mad if I don't say something to him.
Get any of those final shout outs. But Travis, congratulations on the win and have a good one here tonight. Congratulations. And we'll see you going into that of Gateway, and good luck there.
I am glad I have a win going into that track.
It should be an interesting one. We're excited for it, but have a good one there, Travis. Well, Zach, got to talk to our top 3. And I got to say for Travis Butt, he's been waiting for this one to happen for quite a long time as we bring up our unofficial results.
Yeah, quite a long time for sure. He's been waiting for that victory to come in and get him into those playoffs, man. It's what he needed at the right time with 2 races to go in the regular season, Sam. And like you said, he's got a win heading off in the Gateway. He could look for back-to-back to get that momentum built up at a crucial time.
Take a look at our unofficial results. Top 10 going to be Travis Butt, Cameron Sarton, Andrew Medlin, with Chris Essery, Dylan Glass, Aaron Hale, Christopher Wade, Derek Offerman, Kyle McCoy, Ryan Burshak going to be finishing out your top 10. And Zach, a lot of those drivers in the top 10 were drivers that needed some points, meaning that weren't really gaining much on that of Nick Holland. I mean, you're gaining much on Nick Holland, but now your goal that you're going after is Dylan Grimm is the next driver on your list that you're trying to beat out.
Yeah, it's. I mean, that's a Final Four contender from last season. It shows you the caliber of drivers we're dealing with here. I mean, it's going to be so close, Sam. I mean, Grimm got that 12th place finish here tonight. That's good for him, but he's going to need more than that. He's going to need an Auto Club kind of thing that he got him into the Final Four, dominated that race last season. He's maybe going to need one of those to possibly at least, or not even domination, just some good runs together in those 2 races. Gateway, a really tricky track. I mean, you look at Darlington, this place kind of similar. I mean, we could compare them for being just oddball racetracks, just off the wall. And when we head there next week, it's going to be key and vital for these drivers to get to grips with that track very quickly if they have points to either be held or points to gain. I mean, if you're in that group of drivers, you better be putting practice in this week and getting ready for Gateway, because it's a track we normally don't run with these Cup cars. It's off the wall. And then after that, you got Talladega, where nothing is guaranteed, my friends.
Talladega is going to be where all the teammates come together and try to get at least one of their team members that's not in the playoffs or locked in. Make sure they're solidified moving forward. Here tonight, though, Darlington, we had a couple of cautions that changed the aspect of how tonight was going to go. But man, what a race it was. But if you want more racing action here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, Zach, here's the list of tracks we're going to, and it's going to be a good week. Las Vegas, Sunday night for the MPI Cup Series. Now, we were talking about that before today's broadcast. That is going to be a wild race of the unknown, pack racing at moments. Lots of cautions we're expecting, but it's going to be a good one. Monday night, we got ourselves truck racing with the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series, but they're going to go road course racing at the Glen after having their having their first race of the season at Daytona last week. Chaotic one. We'll see if road course racing's chaotic as well. Got the Underdog Racing League Wednesday night. Going to be at Nashville Super Speedway, hopefully this go around. And then finishing out next week, Thursday night. We're expecting most of you to come back for that one. It's going to be Stars and Stripes Cup Series action at Worldwide Technology Raceway, otherwise known as Gateway. Saturdays, we're off. We don't got racing on that until later in the month, and we cannot wait for that of the NAISCC Cup Series to come back. But Zach, final thoughts before we close out tonight.
Well, Sam, before we get out here tonight, got to say congrats to Travis Butt winning in the crucial time. That is that's clutch stuff right there. We've seen it from his teammate last season have that clutch factor when it came down to the playoffs. You're going to need that for especially how the playoffs work in this series. So I think what we've seen here tonight could lead up to that. But man, Gateway next week, I'm excited for that. And like I said, an off the wall track, something where we don't normally see with these Cup cars. So it'll be a new experience for us. We might even see a little bit of a shift in there. So it could be a little interesting, Sam. I'm definitely excited for next week. So if you're out there and you enjoyed tonight's broadcast, make sure you tune back in for that race.
Going to be a good one. Here tonight, Darlington goes to that of Travis Butt in the 00. Finally, all season long, gets the win on race 13 of the season. There's 2 more races left in the regular season to see who's in the playoffs and who's going to race for a championship. Gateway, Talladega. They're going to be handfuls. They're going to be great races to watch. And you get it all here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. For Zach Hall, myself, Sam Dyer, and Robert Moyer running all the productions here tonight. Thank you for joining us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. More racing action Sunday night. It's the MPI Cup Series. Hope to see you then. If we don't, we'll see you next week at Gateway. Have a great rest of your night and see you all.